Hi everyone, this is Korosh Erfani. Today is Tuesday, October 28, 2025. There has been a breaking news. As you can see, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu ordered powerful, immediate attacks on Gaza for whatever pretext. This is not really important. This is something that we expected for. Everybody was waiting for that this moment, trying again and again to restart and to re-trigger the war in Gaza. Now the question is, what would be the reaction of the United States? Of course, the immediate reaction was effectively by White House insisting on the necessity of the ceasefire and the fact that finding the bodies of hostages is something time-consuming and difficult, and so on and so on. But let's get the big picture. Israel is trying to bring the United States in a very difficult situation. It's a dilemma the United States must take up if it wants effectively to be able, to keep status, position in the international scene. On the one hand, if the United States wants to go with Israel, which means with the Zionist Netanyahu and his company, to restart the war, for sure Washington will lose all the credibility and legitimacy on the international arena, right? And nobody counts on the Americans' word anymore, right? Which means that from the moment the United States is approving or confirming the decision of the Israeli to retake effectively the process of war, bombing, genocide, and so on, the United States is finished. The presence of the United States on the international scene is over, historically, I mean. And that would be an end for any importance, any international and posture of the United States on the international diplomacy or anything like that. So from the moment the United States is not any more important, of course, there would be an empty room, empty place to be filled by other powers. Of course, Israel is counting on itself to, take this role and to become effectively a superpower, a worldwide superpower, even though it's not really at that level, but they dream that, and the Zionists are really for a long time dreaming to become a global superpower, and it cannot be done as long as there is United States that overshadows Israel. So that's the idea, and the trap is this one. So we will bring the United States with ourselves in this war, and it's a matter of Gaza, and then West Bank, and then Lebanon, and then Syria, and the whole Middle East, right? So we shouldn't forget that the greater Israel is not Gaza, right? It's much more, much bigger than that. And on the other hand, if the United States wants to resist, wants to stand up on its position to establish a real ceasefire, and then the other phases of this plan, which means peace, for example, in the Middle East, this means simply the end of Zionism for Israel. So you can imagine that can the Zionists accept really to be, putting aside completely or historically forever because of the United States, because of the United States' interest? So that's why today in Haaretz we had an article according to which the plan of Jared Kushner for the region is extremely dangerous for the whole region, for the future of Israel, for the future of Palestine, because it's a matter of business, and the combination of the business with politics, with diplomacy, will be something extremely messy, right? So, but let's imagine that the United States will stand up, will take and hold the position, and wants a real peace in the Middle East. In this case, I think the Zionists will start triggering a plot, a real conspiracy in the United States, and thanks to their Zionist network in the United States, they will try to, create a completely chaotic situation where there would be most probably a civil war in the United States. This is what Stephen Miller, one of the Zionists infiltrated in the White House, is doing right now. And I think if there is a real clash between White House and Tel Aviv, of course there are much more agents and elements like Stephen Miller who will be activated, of course, and will try to bring down the empire, the United States, pushing it into a real civil war so that the empire start to imploding, right? That's another leverage in the hands of the Zionists to put pressure and to threaten all the time the White House, so that White House can side always and always, without any hesitation, with Israel. So as you can see, the dilemma or the situation is extremely sensitive. It's very paradoxical, effectively, for the United States. Any decision in the one direction or another one can cost a lot for the United States. That's why I think it's time for citizens, for the Americans, to be attentive about their own national interest and try to keep really a direction in which we have on the one hand the necessity of peace across the world, including the Middle East, and on the other hand the social peace, the internal peace in the United States. If the American government and American nation cannot really assure both, cannot guarantee both, there would be serious problem. We will see that, and we are monitoring that. We will see how the things will evolve, and I am going to talk about that more in the coming videos. Thank you very much for watching this.